Devil's Workshop painting commissions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Movers and Shakers Hobby News. So this is a continuation of the Seraphon Rules update. So let's start out with sub-factions. The three sub-factions previewed are Dracothian's Tail, the Fangs of Sotek, and Quaddle's Claw. The Dracothian's Tail ability is known as Appear on Command. The rule reads, instead of setting up a friendly Dracothian's Tail unit on the battlefield, you can place it to one side and say that it is set up, waiting to appear at command as a reserve unit. You can set up one reserve unit waiting to appear at command for each friendly Dracothian's Tail unit you have already set up on the battlefield. At the end of your movement phase, you can set up one or more of the reserve units waiting to appear at command on the battlefield, more than 9 inches away from enemy units and wholly within 18 inches of a friendly Dracothian's Tail slan. Any reserve units waiting to appear at command which are not set up on the battlefield before the start of the 4th battle round are slain. So this allows you to put about half your army in reserves. This is great for those who want to play the Deep Strike game. The Fangs of Sotek ability is called First to Battle. It reads, in the first battle round, add 3 inches to the move characteristic of Fangs of Sotek skank units. So Quaddle's Claw is specifically for coalesced Seraphon armies. The rule, Savagery Incarnate, reads, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Quaddle's Claw Saurus units that made a charge move in the same turn. Quaddle's Claw armies also get a really good command trait known as Dominant Predator. The rule reads, roll a dice each time this general is used to issue a command to a friendly Quaddle's Claw Saurus unit. On a 4-up, you receive 1 extra command point. So basically here, anytime you issue a command, you have a 50% chance of getting a command point back. A couple of Warscroll updates were also previewed. For the Skink Oracle on Troglodon, he received the Oracle of the Slan ability, as well as the Comet's Call spell. The Oracle of the Slan rule reads, add 1 to casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls for this model. In addition, this model can attempt to unbind spells that are cast anywhere on the battlefield and attempt to dispel endless spells anywhere on the battlefield. So if you're really playing a magic-heavy game, he's probably going to be someone you want in your list. So Comet's Call has a casting value of 7. If successfully cast, you can pick up to D3 different enemy units anywhere on the battlefield. Each of these units suffers D3 mortal wounds, rolled separately. Here's the thing, though. If the casting value is 10 or more, pick up to D6 different enemy units instead of up to D3. So you have the potential to really spread out those mortal wounds here, which kind of, those two abilities together make this little skink a powerful little player. It looks like Saurus Warriors also got a -1 rend for their Celestite clubs. Regardless of whether you take the clubs or their spears, if you have a unit of 15 or more, you can add 1 to their attacks characteristic. So it looks like they didn't preview any new models for endless spells or anything, just besides a little blurb. But from what it looks like, the Seraphon are getting what's called bound predatory endless spells. The big difference here is that these bound spells can only be moved by Seraphon players. So more was also released on the terrain piece for the Seraphon, the new Realmshaper engine. So the biggest thing looks like you're going to be able to add it to your list for free. You can also garrison up to 20 wounds worth of units inside. You get to make use of the following ability, known as Power Unleashed. The rule reads, in your hero phase, if this model is garrisoned by a friendly Seraphon Wizard or friendly Seraphon Priest, you can pick 1 terrain feature anywhere on the battlefield and roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of that terrain feature. Add 2 to the roll if that terrain feature is within 18 inches of this model, and subtract 2 from the roll if the terrain feature is more than 36 inches away from this model. On a 4-up, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So here you obviously get to punish your opponent for sitting around terrain. We'll have to see how that plays out as games go across the next couple of months and see if this is just an ungodly, overpowered army. I remember Seraphon being pretty tough to begin with, and we'll see if they've just gotten even tougher. But at the end of the day, it's just a challenge for us non-Seraphon players. So I'm looking forward to playing against the new Seraphon. The Realmshaper engine model looks like it can be built in 2 different ways. I really would like to see Necron's players do a monolith conversion, and hey, I might do one myself. Warhammer community also put out an article showcasing 5 different painters that completed the Triumph of St. Katherine model for Sisters of Battle. While all of the painters did excellent work, one stood out above the rest to me specifically, as the style sort of mirrors my own. It's done in a really gritty, classical art style that speaks to me personally. The artist's name was Christian Simonsen. Hopefully I pronounced that right. His inspiration came from Rembrandt and other classical painters. He really brought that model to life in a way I haven't seen as of yet in any of the groups I follow. The addition of the terrain piece in there really makes it a solid diorama, as well as a great standalone model. The colors really bring all the elements together. The object source lighting also really gives it life with all the darker tones in the rest of the piece. Overall, bang up job. You really inspire painters like me to go out there and break the mold. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this edition of Movers and Shakers Hobby News. Have a wonderful day, and as always, happy hobbying.